Hey everyone, it's Sybil. I'm Sybil Wilkes, and if you hear any noise, it's just me and the boys. Or the fellas. I don't call them boys. Today, we welcome back our good friend Damon Williams, comedian extraordinaire, host at Riddles, and also traveling the world with his own unique brand of comedy. And today, how are you, Damon?
Doing fantastic. As you can see, I'm out trying to live my best life outside of the north side of Chicago, in the park with my bicycle. So I figure like, hey, it's time to log in. I got to work from here.
And I like that you're on location. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. And ladies and gentlemen, I think for some of you, we are introducing, for others who are familiar with this young man, we are reintroducing. This is Cameron Riley. Hey, Cam, how are you?
Hey, Sybil, what's up? Hey,
Y-
Damon, and hello,
What's
Tuesday.
happening?
And you are happening. For those who may say, well, I know the name, I think I recognize the voice. That is Cameron Riley. He is a contributor to the What You Need to Know newsletter, a fine writer. And we were introduced to Cameron by his sister, Quinn, who is our social justice activist. And Quinn and Cameron were on vacation, and we saw this good looking guy in the background. We're like, who is that? And she said, that's my brother, and I want to find him a really good girlfriend. So can you help me? And leave it to our executive producer, Yolanda Starks White. She went to work, and we created a dating game for Cam. And so over 3 weeks, three different shows, we had a dating game, and some of us brought young women that we thought would be good matches for Cameron, and they participated. And so, Cam, welcome, first of all, to this day. And secondly, let's talk a little bit about your dating game experience, if you will.
Yeah, good to be back. Obviously, thanks to everybody who continues to read the newsletter and stays tuned to what you need to know. The dating game was obviously really awkward, but I got to meet some beautiful, phenomenal women, two of which who I still keep up with today. And Sybil, I gotta, I can't put my whole roster out there because I do have ladies who watch the show who like to track my movements.
I
So
see. Okay. Well, David understands that. So and I do have a habit or a reputation, if you will, of busting people out and telling too much of their business once we're on the air. So I will be mindful of that, young player. So let's just start with just a couple of things. Tell people a little bit about yourself. We know that you are a very creative and a very talented young man. What's your specialty?
yeah, so I'm a playwright. I'm a writer. I've written a couple plays so far. I have a few short films on my portfolio. I'm also writing two full-length pilots, and I happily serve as your political analyst as well.
Yes, you do. And doing a fine job and giving us a perspective from a young black man stance. And so it's a great addition. So I thank you for that. Damon is also in the arts, not only as a comedian, but has starred in numerous TV shows as well as movies. And so I think that you all will get along just fine, as well as two young men from the South Side of Chicago. This is a whole South Side thing happening right here.
Well, thank you, Sybil, and I appreciate you throwing in the two young men because, she's like, he's a young man from I done fell out the young man category. And so thank you for throwing the young man in. And yes, we are Chicago. This summertime shower right now where I am.
Yeah, and take advantage of it as I see you are for however long you can, because this ain't gonna last for long, my friend.
The countdown has begun.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And Damon, for Cameron, you are an outdoorsy guy, kind of guy. And as a matter of fact, Cameron, not only is he out riding his bike, but he is also looking longingly at the water, looking at the lake, because he is a boater, if you will.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sort of a boat. You got to have a boat to do that. And if you don't have a reliable mechanic, you're a boat watcher at this point. It's a long saga, Cameron. Just know when you get older, if you get a boat, get one that works. So I'm trying to.
I was always told that it's better to know someone who owns a boat than to own your own boat.
Yes.
I've heard that too.
When it's running.
When I was a little girl, Cam, my uncle had a boat and kept it docked by the museum, and so my mom and dad would take me down there Damon, and I would always, we were excited to get on the boat, but never could understand why Uncle Eddie didn't have us go out into the water. And it turns out this son of a gun had taken the motor out. He said, "I don't want to deal with all the headaches," and that's where he would put his liquor.
He had a dock pub. He never went out.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that's the lifestyle, though. The marina is the spot, just to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that it'll be fun. And so let us talk about what's going on in the world, gentlemen. And some things are going on as we speak. And the first thing is, and I just talked to my friend Stephanie Williams in Houston, because the weather, Nicholas is his name. And this is after Ida has, wreaked all of the hell and havoc that she did. Nicholas is now in South Texas into Louisiana, and the roads flooded. Hundreds of thousands of people were without power as Nicholas, as a Category 1 hurricane, came onto land right around midnight and brought strong winds, flooding rainfall, and covered streets and damaged homes as the storm made landfall. Hundreds of thousands are still without power across Texas after the trees and power lines were toppled, and the strengthened hurricane just right before it came onto land. And so 9 inches of rain fell on the eastern side of the Houston metro area, and it's now moving across to Louisiana. There's nothing like this. And I'm not sure about you, Cameron, but when I moved from Chicago, my first radio job was in Florida. So that was hurricane territory. I had never experienced anything like this in terms of hurricane and hurricane force winds. Our areas were tornadoes, right? But these hurricanes are really something. And as a climate changer, you can appreciate how things have become just so much more intense.
Yeah, absolutely. And every time when I think about leaving Chicago, whether it be the West Coast or the East Coast or the South, I'm always thinking that, Illinois is on a dead fault line. All the hurricanes happen to all the Republicans downstate. The only thing that we have going on in Chicago is, cloudy with the chance of gun
meatballs.
Sure, meatballs, great.
Cloudy with a chance of frostbite.
Okay. Yes. Okay. And Damon, you can understand as far as the flooding and stuff is concerned, because we got that. That was never an issue. We understand flooding and all of that, but the power and the strength of the hurricanes as compared to the tornadoes, they're both, forces of nature that we have to contend with.
It's all super scary. I've lived through a real tornado once in Indianapolis, and when I tell you, it's not like I was saying, boy, I sure wish this was a hurricane instead.
Right.
It's no fun going through any of these natural disasters and storms hit. But we talked about this last time. We discussed this on the last one, so that families need to have a central location. So when these power outages happen, even if you have to ante up, pick a house in the family where you all can go and sequester yourselves during these tragedies, because everybody might not be able to afford a generator, but if you all collectively have a household with the supplies and the power for these storms, so they're not going to stop coming. So I think it's something we really need to start talking up.
Yeah. I mean, even today, our power went out for just a little bit, but you don't know when it's going to happen. And in Texas, we had a horrific winter, and many thousands of people lost their power for days on end, as well as the flooding and the burst pipes and what have you. And so this is the time then we should be talking about it. And we should have been talking about it earlier. But as you mentioned, Damon, and thinking ahead, we have to think about it and get everyone involved in this.
It's super important, especially if you have young children, because we know what to do without power. We can grab a book or some cards or a candle. These kids power down when the power's down. So now,
right.
They don't know how to function without the grid. So, you're going to be miserable on top of being miserable if you don't have power for the kids and their devices.
Absolutely. And I don't know if you've experienced that. Have you, Cameron, in terms of being without power or, a storm having that kind of power to deny you power?
Sybil, I remember the winter of '96.
Oh, okay. Okay.
This is the only time when anyone in CPS got a snow day
Right.
before leadership got a little sensitive. And, we had a few power outages in South Shore, and we made like shadow puppets on the walls, and we played cards and stuff like that. And so, I have my sisters and I all have overactive imaginations, but
Yes.
I agree with Damon. Kids nowadays, their attention span is like 10 seconds.
Yeah, plus you can't imagine it being warm if you don't have heat. I don't care how imaginative you are. At some point, that ice gonna get on them windows. You're gonna start seeing your breath in the house. So you need a generator.
That is something to consider. You're absolutely right, Damon. It's been a tough day for well, not a tough day. It's been a tough 7 months for Joe Biden. He is still catching it and getting a lot of flack about trying to get people vaccinated, trying to get people to do the right thing in terms of keeping each other safe and preventing the spread of the coronavirus, now the Delta variant and soon to be the Mu variant. But also he was trying to take our troops out of Afghanistan, and we know what happened there. His Secretary of State spent a second day on Capitol Hill trying to explain things to a Senate committee, and he is catching heat from both sides. The top Senate Democrat today has blasted the Biden administration's handling of the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan as fatally flawed. That came from a big-time Biden supporter. That's Bob Menendez of New Jersey. And so he was talking to Blinken, the Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, and telling him that, you guys really screwed up, and they're asking for answers. And of course, when you see Democrats like this telling people, telling the Biden administration that you really screwed up and this is a fatally flawed operation, that's going to just compel the Democrats, the Republicans to come forward and say, yeah, what he said, and then, keep it going. But this guy, I know, you don't get paid by the committee appearance, but he deserves some overtime in this and trying to explain it, or, try to put as positive a face and spin on what the president did in terms of the decision to go into Afghanistan and close things out.
Yeah, when people ask me what my sport is, I always tell them it's politics, and then they never laugh at that, even though I
do. Coming from Chicago, I do.
Yeah, but I like to think the politics is like football, and your Congress, your legislative party is your line. It's their job for you to make a way to score, and scoring in this situation is getting these laws passed and doing the right thing. But when the game's not going right and the team's not scoring, people blame the quarterback. People blame Joe Biden, and so we're in that era where people are blaming Joe for a lot of the things that are happening to us currently. Now, unfortunately, if we look at checks and balances, the right to declare war, and as a commander-in-chief, he has the total authority over our military. I've got to side with our Congress here. That whole Afghanistan fiasco was a total debacle.
Yeah,
it was tragic.
Yeah. And this will go on for a very long time. It may go on as long as the full first term. I'm not sure. But Damon, have you had a chance? Well, you were out playing outside, which I highly recommend. But wondering if you got a chance to see any of this yesterday or today.
Well, I have an opinion on the fact that as far as Joe's concerned, this is something he inherited. I mean, he's been in office a short amount of time. These deals and agreements were already in place when he came along. Of course, he could reverse them, he could prolong them, but the fact remains that we're never going to win that war. We're never going to win that battle. We're never going to change the culture of that country, and we shouldn't be losing our people continuously. At some point, this day was going to come. So whether it came now and it seems unorganized, or you waited 6 more months and it seems less unorganized, it's still going to be unorganized. It's going to be chaos because they have a different subscription of life. Or what they feel politically should be taking place and how they want to run the country. And once we were out of there was no way to do a smooth transition because you still got to tell them a date and they have to let you do it. So if you decided to try and trick them and sneak out, it still was going to be a problem. So if you're trying to get out of the hopefully a whole generation of people benefited from our U.S. troops sacrificing and being over there. And some ladies, had some freedom and some abilities to do some things they wouldn't have done under this regime. And maybe now that 20 years down the line from the war, this regime may have softened its stance to an extent where people can live better, because we got our own problems in America that we can't be worrying about other countries like that.
Absolutely. No,
Yeah.
I agree with you. I agree with you. And coming from Chicago, we know local politics, but and we don't talk about the international as much as we possibly should. But I agree with both of you. This is going to go for a long time in trying to find some answers and well, hopefully so that the next president or the next administration or whoever she is will not be faced with this. And so we will see what happens. All right. So now it's time for us to take a look at what's really going on. What's really going on is based upon a lot of things that are happening to us directly in terms of the loss of our friends. This has been a tough week, Damon. And as a Chicagoan too, Cameron, you may be able to appreciate this, but it started with the loss of Allison Payne. Allison Payne was an Emmy-winning news anchor and a reporter for WGN Channel 9. She passed September 1st, but the news came out over the weekend, and she was 57 years old. She had had a number of health challenges. She said that she had suffered from many strokes. And I don't know how many, but it's MINI strokes. So that was very sad. Then I think it was the next day, Damon, it came out that our friend Jamilah Muhammad died, who was just the greatest light in the radio business and also in other areas of radio and music. And Jamilah, I knew as a kid working at WGCI. She was the kid. I was a little bit older. But Damon, do you had a relationship with Jamilah as well?
Absolutely. During the B103 days, when she just got into promotions and she became the director of promotions through Max Myrick.
So
we shared space with 106 Jams. I was on the hip hop station. They were on B103 with George and Bonnie and John Mons, radio legends. So I had an opportunity to interact and watch her development. And now she went on to become this huge mogul in the game. And she touched so many lives and went to different cities and markets. She was at Stevie Wonder's historic station at one point, KJLH. And she was always, like you say, just a light. And so that, coupled with the fact that I had a personal loss, of course, we know, with my son-in-law. So it's just been a tough time, but we're trying to get through it all. And of course, there's one more to mention.
Yeah, there is one more to mention, and that is the mother of your good friend, comedian Dion Cole's mom, passed away. I saw that on social media. Did I see it yesterday?
Well, it's been posted a couple of days, I suppose.
Okay.
But yeah, tragic anytime you hear about someone losing their mom, and especially when it's someone that's so as close as Dion and I. Our birthday's the same day. We're brothers. We celebrate our birthdays, P.I., George Wilborn, Tony Schofield, for years and years together, and come up in the ranks. And he's living such a beautiful life right now. Yeah. So that's it's
and you want his mom to be around to share in that, and he really did.
Thank the Lord she saw him become the Dion he is. Yeah. She prayed him through the Dion he was, and that's no disrespect. That's just I come up with the brother. We used to kick it. So yeah, both of us. My mama prayed, Linda prayed me through. I have no business on the north side chilling on a bicycle, free from authorities and other situations. I have a praying mama as well. So yeah, God bless all those circumstances, the families and loved ones affected, and all the the groups of people that love all of those people. Yeah. Allison was a staple here, and if you're not from Chicago, you might not be as aware, but she was that real deal prototype and a pioneer when it comes to broadcasting in Chicago.
But here's the deal, Damon. That's when GN was a superstation, and people could be all over the country and watching WGN news and programming. So a lot of people, I did hear from a lot of people who said they watched her from different cities around the country.
A lot of dudes say I was in jail, man. I used to watch Alice since she made my night. You understand me? I was in Tennessee County State. I used to remember Allison. She had a hair draper. I love Allison Pack. Yeah.
Yep. And the latest loss is another giant in the industry, Norm Macdonald, the stand-up comedian and Saturday Night Live alum, and a real quirky but very funny man. The announcement of his death at the age of 61, and so this brings us to our what's really going on question. And so yesterday, I should say, earlier we asked Cameron, if you knew that you couldn't fail, what would you do? That's an earlier question. So think about that. If you knew you could not fail, Damon, and perhaps you want to join in on this too, what would you do?
I can tell you right away. I would reverse slavery and let them feel it for about 400 years. The next 4. No, actually, we get all the little lattes and the condos and the lakefront properties for the next 400 years. So I couldn't fail at flipping the script.
Okay.
No, actually, social justice and equality, and economic equality as well for our people. That would be something. That would be my main pursuit, followed by mental health, because I feel like that's an underserved community, and Black minds matter. That's my new little line. Black minds matter as well.
I like that. And Cameron, I can't help but think that you might be on that same wavelength in terms of social justice, but also as an artist. What do you think? If you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if I knew that I couldn't fail, reparations, point blank period, all the way. As an artist, if I knew that I couldn't fail, I would get the EGOT. And
okay, so tell people what the EGOT is.
Yeah, the EGOT is the Grammy, the Emmy, the Golden Globe, the Oscar, and the Tony.
So I don't know if the Golden Globe included in the EGOT?
It's Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony.
Yeah.
So the Globe, you could throw a G on there, because you're from the next generation. That's the millennials, always adding initials.
The EGOT.
Yeah, you got. No disrespect, bro. I'm here for the jokes also.
And my policy is don't dish it out if you can't take it. So,
there you go. There you go. So let me ask you this, and ask yourself this. If you knew, and this is based upon the recent losses that we have experienced, if you knew you had 6 months to live, what would you do?
Yeah.
Because I can tell you, I am closing down, turning all these lights off, maybe even leaving my phone and picking up my camera and heading to the airport. Masked up, mind you. But I'm going to Hawaii or someplace with some great water.
Yeah, that's real.
If anybody wants to come, get your ticket. Come on.
And that's tough. There's so much stuff I have yet to do. Like
and you're young, but
time is ticking. You got 6 months, player.
I would, without a doubt, max out all my credit cards instantly. Buy a bunch of Bitcoin for my mom, and after that, I would write a book about the last 6 months of my life.
Nice. I like that. Okay. All right. Taking care of your mama too. I love that. Damn. And Damon, what do you think?
I would take out $100 million worth of life insurance. And everybody that I love get paid.
Okay.
Right. But I'm going to borrow from the policy so that I could travel a little bit, see a couple of spots I haven't seen, and probably ask for permission to do something stupid from anybody in the world that probably wouldn't let me do that under any other circumstances, whatever that entails. And
does that permission include permission from your wife?
No, I don't know. It wasn't freaky. I'm not thinking freaky.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Like, maybe jump out of Paris, finally go skydiving or something. Actually, I would be more safe. I'd probably be so cautious. I'm like, look, I know I only got 6 months. I don't know what y'all about to do, but I'm not putting on these roller skates. And I could fall forward on the bridge of my nose and die. So let's walk.
Let's walk it out.
But I would start with taking care of my people by leaving that inheritance with as much life insurance as possible.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's really nice. And that shows a lot of care and concern on both your parts. Me, I'm just leaving. Y'all can do whatever you want with what's left, but I'm just saying.
Well, holler at me. I'll put the policy on you because you love your boy, right?
I do.
I got you covered. You know what I'm saying? I'll buy your flight if you just let me do the policy.
Hey, Cameron, we have somebody. I'm having a little problem with my eye, so can you read that for us?
Yeah, Manuel Murphy from Facebook just hacked this for us. Manuel Murphy said, if I had 6 months to live, I would ask for 6 more months. Yep.
No, that's not part of the equation.
No.
Somebody always want to come in with their own Uno rules when you're playing Uno. Here come you
That's
asking for 6 more months on a 6-month question.
isn't that usually if you had 3 wishes, what would be your, I'd ask for 3 more wishes, right?
Yeah.
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 And we have another on Facebook there, Cam.
Yeah. Odessa Pope Wells from Facebook says if they had 6 more months to live, they would be spending special time with their family.
That's nice. That's nice. That's very special, and then your family would be wondering, what about us after these 6 months are up? Okay, who do we have now?
Obi Washington says if they had 6 months to live, they would take a Sandals Resort vacation, visit some relatives to say goodbye, and then they will buy a bunch of scratch-off tickets.
And that was on Facebook as well, I believe. Yeah. Nice. So let me ask you this: would you guys are talking to Damon? You especially talking about insurance policies and things. Would you cut and maxing out your credit cards? Would some of that money go to maybe some scratch offs and some Powerballs and just have some fun that way?
No, so it's an automatic lottery. If you buy life insurance, you win.
That's true.
Because you're
That's
gonna
true.
die. That's why
true.
a lot of people pass wealth down generationally. It's not a joke. Really and truly, life insurance is the one way that you know when you die, your death is a blessing to other people.
Yeah.
So you ain't got to be guessing your luck. You can take all them scratch-off dollars and get a term life policy because you know for a fact you out of here in 6 months. Everybody should come up. I would be taking I would do a GoFundMe. Y'all better put in on this because I'm gonna put you on the policy, and we would break the insurance industry. You can't tell me for sure I'm about to die. Everybody about to come up.
Everybody.
They're going to name a street after me. You believe that?
Rosemary Smith said that if they had 6 more months to live, they would spend it having good sex and then give everything away. Beautiful.
All right, Rosemary, I don't know who your partner or partners would be, but good for you. Not mad at that. And hopefully it'll be good. But I guess if you pay for it, it should be.
Hey, if you know it's your last one, if we knew how many we had left, you'd get it in. You wouldn't have them. It's bound to be good because hey,
David, you know how the promises are, and
no,
really,
I don't, Sybil.
Okay.
No, I don't. You see my wife.
Happy wife makes a happy life, as they say.
Indeed, happy spouse, happy house.
And happy Juanita, very happy Damon. Right. You're absolutely right. What do we have there, Cam?
Sybil, I don't know if you're prepared for this one, but Anthony Sanders says that he would ask you for dinner and then have you cook. So I don't know.
You're funny. Oh, Anthony, you're killing me. See, Cam, the deal is I'm not a cook. And until I moved, a number of my books were always in my stove.
So yes to dinner, no to cooking.
But no to the cooking. So so thank you for parsing that way because yes.
For that.
Anthony, I'm down for the dinner, not so much for the cooking. Okay, all right. Thank you very much. So the question, ladies and gentlemen, and you're getting it, is if you had 6 months to live, what would you do? How would you live your remaining six months of life? And I'm with you, Damon. I love the water. I think that a lot of us who are fire signs, especially, like that. But even if you're not, and I'm a kind of a Leo in there, do love the water. So I would be somewhere near somebody's water, just chilling.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Manuel Murphy from Facebook says that he remembers what Red Fox said about death. It's going to be a sad day for everybody. He said, I'm not leaving nobody nothing.
Well, I don't know if you remember when Red Fox died, but I think that was the truth. The only people there waiting for their money was the tax man, right, Damon?
Absolutely.
Yeah, bless his heart.
Never fails.
It never fails. It never fails. All right, Damon, we're going to thank you for joining us, and we will look for you very soon and enjoy the remainder of your beautiful day there in Chicago.
Thank you, because the sun is setting and it's getting a little dark, and I
I
don't have
know.
a helmet, no reflector, or no vest, so I don't want to be out here too much longer.
Okay. Thank you, darling. I appreciate you, Damon Williams. We'll see you soon.
Love you.
Bye
Love
bye.
you.
Love you too.
All
All
right, Kat.
right.
I'm
Oh, we should remind people. I'm sorry, Damon. He stepped away.
Oh,
There he goes.
Dion, on his
But
way.
Chris and Huggy are going to be at Damon's club, Riddles, in Chicago this weekend. So please check them out. Go on into town.
That's the thing.
Did you need that? Did you need yeah, you needed that. You needed your phone. He was really trying to get that sunset in. I'm not mad at you, player. But folks who do remember this weekend, go and check out Chris and Huggy at Riddles with Damon. All right. So now it is time to go to our favorite part of the show here at Young Cameron, and we're going to talk about what you do for us. This is the What You Need to Know newsletter. This newsletter is absolutely free. We ask you to subscribe. Go to SybilWilkes.com, and it will be in your email box Monday through Friday morning, first thing, and you'll see all of the good work that our tremendous staff has done the day before to put this all together. All right, Cameron. We did not talk about this earlier, but this is something that definitely needs to be talked about. And the California recall election.
Oh boy, yeah.
Yeah, that is that's that was your story.
Yeah, it's a debacle, to say the least. Long story short, this is the only time that this has ever happened or the second time this has happened in California state's history. The first time this happened, Arnold Schwarzenegger became governor of California.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who are thinking that this comes out of nowhere, this is actually the right of every Californian to vote to remove their governor during their term and then replace them with a new governor. It happens all the time, but never before have we seen so much fire under the conservative support base.
Right.
And the current governor of California is Gavin Newsom. And during the pandemic, Newsom was being an idiot, and he was caught having dinner at maskless gathering in the most expensive restaurant in the United States.
That's right.
And
this was not a good moment or a good look for him.
No, not the best moment of his career, Sybil, at all. And he tried to apologize, but by then it was already too late.
Yeah.
And so conservatives managed to gather, you need 1.2 million signatures to move forward the motion to demand a recall. They managed to get 1.5 in a very short period of time. And so Gavin Newsom put out like the Avengers Assemble for all of his Democratic, hotshot buddies, and Elizabeth Warren showed up, Amy Klobuchar showed up. Pete Buttigieg just had a kid, so he probably couldn't, show up. But
right. I thought he would have been good there. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Mayor Pete would have definitely brought folks out, but Kamala showed up. Joe was there yesterday, and he managed to raise over $51 million in a very short window, just to have people be sure that if the rhetoric from the Democratic Party is that if you remove me, you get Donald Trump. And so who is the conservative front runner?
Right.
It's a black man, regrettably.
Yeah. Larry Elder.
Yeah, Larry Elder, who has had a very extensive media career.
Yeah. I lived in LA for a while, but even before I moved there and visiting families, there was always a conversation. Did you hear Larry Elder today? Did you hear what that fool said today? And because he is very conservative and but more stridently so now as a result of the last 4 years, I believe. And can you talk about some of the things that Larry Elder stands for?
Man, Sybil, this fool Larry is, first of all, he's a very well-educated man. And I say that to say that a lot of the GOP fan base is typically typecast as the blue-collar, working-class American who has tunnel vision and, rose-colored glasses for Donald Trump. This dude has a degree from Brown. He's got a
Mhm.
Juris Doctorate from the University of Michigan. This dude is very well educated. But he said that women exaggerate sexism,
Mhm.
whatever that means. He
Mhm.
says that Black people exaggerate racism. I believe George Floyd would beg to differ.
Yeah.
And he also said that Trump is God sent.
Mhm.
And so, Sybil, we millennial folk have a term for individuals who do a little bit of tap dancing that
Mhm.
Lane Elder is doing, and we call that cooning.
Yeah.
This man is very much cooning.
Yeah. I got to tell you, that's not just a millennial term. We older folks call it the same thing. And he has been accused of that for many a year, to the point where he said that he would have loved to been in a neighborhood where George Zimmerman lived, the man that killed Trayvon Martin. He has talked about the fact that slave owners should have been the one to receive reparations.
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
What? And he said
Yeah.
that was because they lost some of their property.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And you know what the scary part about this is that he's got 1.5 million people supporting him.
Yeah. Well, no, he doesn't, because he's not going to get that 1.5 million votes, because there are Newsom. If you say that you want to recall Gavin Newsom, then you can go to the next question, and who would you want to see be the next governor?
Right.
And Cameron, 47 names. 47 names. And you could also include your own, like our friend, comedian Alicia Cooper. She put it out there that she wrote her name in on there. I don't know whether she voted to recall Newsom or if she just did that for fun. But, you know, the people, she might get her name mentioned at some point as they're doing the returns at the end of the night.
Yeah, I have thoughts on writing campaigns. This is coming from people in who I think during the last election, Harambe the gorilla got like 1.1% of votes, and that kind of stuff just like really sickens me. But yeah, like it's this kind of stuff that that really shows like how ready the GOP is to rally behind people who openly tout these racist, sexist, homophobic policies, and how our Democrats, we can't even decide what color the sky is.
It's right. So on a gorgeous day, right?
Right. Like I swear, if I took like a survey on Capitol Hill and asked the legislative branch what color the sky is, they would not all say blue.
Right. Absolutely. Well, it's a shade of, but it's not the exact. And let me just also talk about one name that came up very early in the race that just kind of disappeared, and that is Caitlyn Jenner. She's on the ballot. This is the woman who transitioned into Caitlyn and left all of her Kardashian associates and families back in that other life as Bruce Jenner, and transitioned to Caitlyn. And Caitlyn was, for a while, was making a lot of noise about, running for governor. And then, doggone it, she opened her mouth. And that took away everything. I mean, they had her on The View, they had her on CNN and all these other talk shows and news stations. And every time she talked, she had no plans, no suggestions, no thoughts in terms of how her administration would run. She just knew that she didn't want Gavin Newsom to be governor anymore. Well, that's all well and good, but you got to have a plan too, right?
I mean, you have to at least know how governing works at the very least.
Yeah. So, it'll be interesting to see how this all falls out. They do believe that Gavin Newsom will have an easy run of this, and it'll be an early night. So we will see what happens there. But always something different in California, and they can never just do things like the other 40 something states, because not all states. I mean, because you got your Floridas, you got your Georgias, and you got your Texas. Yeah. Let's talk about some other things in the news here. And the one thing I did want to talk about, are you a football fan, Cam?
So baseball.
Oh, you're a baseball fan.
basketball.
Okay. I
Yeah.
like you. Okay. Okay. We can continue to do this. All right. So let me just talk about a first that on the football field, and that's Maya Shaka. She was the first woman to officiate an NFL game this past first week of games. And so this was on Sunday, September 12th, became the first woman to officiate the game between the New York Jets and the Carolina Panthers, which is really great news. And it was I think it was my friend Griff, the comedian, who said that he's like, all of a sudden he sat up and he's like, all right, now look at, and he said he wasn't even looking at the hair flowing behind her, but obviously she looked a lot different in her her official getup than the fellas did, and so that got his attention. But she's quite something, and has been doing this for Pac-12 games and for the very short-lived football league that was in existence in 2019. So Maya Shaka, we wish you a lot of luck, and I'm very proud. And I wish I was watching football still, because I would love to see you out there working. What's your team, Cameron? What's your baseball team?
Oh, Sox all the way.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
So they're down to if we can talk a little baseball here, and they don't like to talk a lot of sports, but if we can talk a little baseball, they are down to what, single digits to capturing the conference.
Yeah, Sox are looking pretty good. We're a little apprehensive. And Cubs fans like to say, "Oh, it's because you have all of our old players." Well,
Right.
That's how pro sports works. Get over it, okay?
Right.
Example A: the Golden State Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But Sox are looking pretty good.
Yeah. The only thing, and I have given up on the Cubs. I was a lifelong Cubs fan until the politics got involved with the Ricketts family and things like that, and so it hurt my heart, and it was after the World Series win. But I did, move away from the Cubs. The only thing I can't go with the White Sox, I'm not a Tony La Russa fan.
Really?
And I don't know if that's for my years of being a Cubs fan, and he was always St. Louis, and that was the big rivalry. I would love to see, I just want to see some young black talent be in the manager's position. And so I thought, going back to the old school with Tony La Russa, I didn't know that was going to be a good idea. But son of a gun, what do I know? Look at them; they're headed towards to postseason, which they haven't in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that now that we're seeing more disruption of the old boys club, that we'll see more black managers too, especially because Magic had paved the way in basketball. Let's see the same thing happen in America's favorite pastime, baseball.
Yeah. I would love to, when we were talking about our earlier question, if you had 6 months to live. Now, that's something else I would like to do. I would love to intern with somebody like Magic Johnson. I think that he has done what he has provided a blueprint for people and how to take their experience on the court and then extend it to the business world, which has just been phenomenal. I think he is, he and Jay-Z and guys like that. And let's even talk about Sheila Johnson, who was the co-founder of BET. I love to see those stories of people that, take it from one area and then take their business to another. I'm very, very proud to see that happen.
Are you familiar with the viral trend, $600,000 or dinner with Jay-Z?
Yes. So talk about that. Yes. Are you interested in that?
First of all, I take the money any day of the week.
Okay.
But it was like an old buried meme in like the early 2010s where people would ask, and like celebrities got into it too, where they would say, would you take $500,000? Or just take dinner with Jay-Z? And people know Jay-Z is super plugged. He knows a whole lot of people. And if your product placement is right, maybe he can make something happen for you. It can also give you some advice on how to establish yourself as not just a businessman but a business.
Right.
And but for me, Sybil, I ain't got nothing that heavy going on. I'll take the money, please.
But he has been known to produce things too.
Yeah, that's true.
So if he were to, perhaps see the work of a promising young playwright, he would be the money man behind that.
I would hope so. I would have to really practice my elevator pitch
Well, that's what we all need to be doing anyway, and be ready for that moment. The last thing I do want to talk about in this section, and we normally do business stories in this section, but I do want to wish a man who shows us about the business of good living, 112th birthday of Mr. Lawrence Brooks. He was a World War II veteran and recently celebrated his 112th birthday. And he said the secret to his long life, he said, it's not a secret at all. Just serve God and be nice to people. So happy birthday to you, and thank you for those words, Mr. Brooks. Yeah. Salute to you. All right, my friend, let us now take a look at entertainment. And we're talking about someone else who is big in the business and is doing great things, and that is Jada Pinkett Smith. Jada Pinkett Smith has worked out a deal, or it's not worked out a deal. I'm sure she didn't have to do a lot of work, but she presented a plan, and now she is partnering with Netflix for a series on powerful African queens.
Beautiful.
So you know something about that because you grew up in a house full of women, a house full of African queens, right?
Yes, I did. It was wonderful.
How many sisters?
I have 5 sisters.
Wow.
Yeah.
And your mom and your grandmother?
Mom, my grandma, my aunt, and my cousin.
Wow. And you're a strong man, so you do know about African queens, and you're very involved, and I love that. And so you might be interested in this series, and they're teaming for a series shaking up history. Because a lot of people are confused about who some of these women are, particularly with their first episode. They're going to be sharing the history and stories of African queens during the continent's pre-colonial era. Does not yet have a name, but it's described as a hybrid docuseries they will feature interviews with experts and content. And the first African queen to be highlighted is someone who is rarely featured as a Black woman or a woman of color, and that's Cleopatra in season 1. She, of course, ruled ancient Egypt, and also the ruler of the Matamba and Ndongo in the 1600s in season 2. But the interesting thing about, and this is before your time, and actually before my time too, but in Cleopatra, the movie Cleopatra was Elizabeth Taylor. Yeah. And so they darkened her skin, not a lot, but they did, and this started a lot of conversation, even in the later years, about how they have all, the colonization of these Black historic characters, and even I think it was like last year, Cameron, they did a story about Cleopatra, and the woman Gail Gadot, who plays Wonder Woman. She played Cleopatra.
Yeah, okay.
And they're still like, come on. She said, well, I'm from the Middle East. I'm from Israel. And still, okay, you're from the Middle East. But no, why can't you just put a Black woman in there?
Like those ancient Egyptian wax stories always blow me, because I'm always asking myself, how does anyone who needs sunscreen, how could they rule in Egypt? If you needed sunscreen, how could you rule it in Egypt? It's impossible.
Okay. That's a great point. And so let's look at it as now it's being put in good hands there with Jada Pinkett Smith, and look forward to the series on the powerful African queens. They also are talking about the official statement of this and the significance and talking about the significance of Cleopatra, which I think is just great. So we wish her a lot of luck with that, and can't wait and know that my Netflix dues every month is going to another great project. So that's great. Absolutely. All right. So check this out, Cameron. This isn't about a baseball player, but this is about a really cool football player. And that would be Russell Wilson, who is the quarterback of the Seattle Seahawks. He has partnered with Alaska Airlines, and they are honoring his partnership by putting his name on a number of their planes.
Really?
Can you imagine getting on an airplane and it says Cameron Riley?
Yeah.
How cool would that be, right?
Yeah, that would be incredible.
Okay. So Alaska Airlines is so caught up with Russell Wilson of the Seattle Seahawks. They put his name on a fourth plane, and they're proud to honor the passion and dedication of their chief football officer with this special aircraft, and excited to see him soar all season long. And here's how fans will also be rewarded: with early boarding priority, as long as they are outfitted in the number 3 jersey. With Russell's jersey, or a limited edition Russell Wilson shirt. And so you can get on early on the Alaska Airlines plane if you have on Russell Wilson gear. So I think that's really pretty cool.
I've always wanted to go hiking in Alaska because it's so beautiful and it's so scenic.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Russell Wilson and I love Sierra, but I will never wear a Seahawks jersey.
Would you only wear a Bears, or do you have a team? Do you have another team?
Yeah,
I mean, if you have to pick one.
The Bears be hitting and missing and hitting and missing.
Trust and believe.
The Bears. What can you do?
So if you could choose any, just as a throwaway question, I guess, but if you could choose any form of transportation where they would put your name, a major, like a plane or a ship or something like that, and they had or maybe they put your name in lights on Broadway. How would that be for you?
I would vote that the CTA change the red line to the Cam line. Okay. The Cam line train. And then I do all the narrations. And then I'll say, this is Roosevelt. All the white people should be off by now.
And they're like, oh, you're right.
Don't forget, I go past Roosevelt.
And don't call it Ruza. Yeah. So, all right. So let us close out with, we used it for our earlier question, Cameron, but once again, we're going to ask the question in our Yogi's Jewel, which, as I said, started a number of great conversations this week. And the Yogi's Jewels are in the newsletter every day, a different jewel every day. And so, as we said, ask yourself, if you knew how long you would live, what would you do? And Cameron, you gave us some great answers, and I wish you luck on getting that EGOT. Because you have a tremendous future ahead of you, and I look forward to watching you soar.
Thank you, Sybil. I mean, I grew up listening to you in the car with my mom, and now I can almost call you a colleague. So
yes, you can. Yes, you may. What? Absolutely.
Cool. So I'm moving. I'm headed in some direction.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Yeah, you're headed in the right direction, sir. And look forward to it. And will you come back and join us next week?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we'd love to have you. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Cameron. Thank you, Damon, wherever you are. We appreciate you, and we will see you next time. Aloha.